Greetings. Once again, it's summer, so I'm wearing a t-shirt. I know that's kind of strange. But the Senators forced a Game 7, and I'm going to go ahead and just have the elephant in the room right out there. This Ottawa Senators franchise has never won a Game 7. The franchise born in 1992 has never won one. They haven't been in one for 5 years. They lost to Buffalo in 97 in overtime. They lost in 2002 to Toronto. They lost in 2003 to New Jersey. They lost in 2004 to Toronto. And they lost in 2012 to the Rangers. Now, an interesting fact among this is that none of those series were against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, though, has a 9-7 record in Game 7s. And they have experience. They have the better team. Right? So Pens fans are going to check off all the boxes. Say, yeah, we got this. This is easy. It's our game. There's something profoundly different with this Ottawa team. And I know they play the trap. I know it can be hard to watch. But there is something inspiring about Ottawa. And I've gone through that. I've got a video about the most inspiring figures of the 2017 playoffs. And Nashville's in the final, and now Ottawa and Pittsburgh are going to decide who gets to play there with them. And yeah, if it's Ottawa and Nashville, there could be some hockey that's hard to watch, but low scoring, tight checking, all one-goal games in all likelihood. I can't think of a playoffs that has had clearly more parity than this one. The number 16 seed in the playoffs going into these playoffs was Nashville. And Ottawa, in terms of favorites, not much better than that. In fact, there would have been people who would have said, well, Ottawa's below Nashville in terms of favorites because Nashville got out of the first round last year, and this is Ottawa's first time in the playoffs in 2 years. So clearly Ottawa's overachieved. Now, in terms of the 5 losses they have, I remember in 97, remember the one to Buffalo. That stunk. That ticked me off. And then the 2 losses against Toronto, it was frustrating as a Senators fan in 2002, 2004, because after the 2004 playoffs was when I started saying, Ottawa's never going to win this. The reality is, if Ottawa can overcome the 0-5, if Ottawa can win a Game 7 in Pittsburgh, and they play Nashville in the Stanley Cup final, you have 2 franchises that have never won a Stanley Cup against each other. That's a rarity. I mean, you know, if that comes to pass, I'll definitely be doing videos on that and how rare that is. I don't even know where to start with that. But it has been quite the run. It has been an amazing run. I know, I like you too, Kitty, but you're in heat. Go play. The run that the Senators have gone on is no less miraculous than the run that Nashville's gone on. The difference is, and I pointed this out in my video about the Senators winning tonight, it's getting it done quickly. Senators knocked Boston out in 6. They knocked the Rangers out in 6. Now they're going to 7 against Pittsburgh. 19 games. Nashville swept Chicago, beat St. Louis in 6, and now they've beaten Anaheim in 6. That's 16 games. Pittsburgh, 5, 7, and now 7. So that's 19 games. This whole thing, this whole Game 7, works to the advantage of the team that's sitting at home waiting. But I also think it works to the advantage of the underdogs. The number one thing that I've always found hilarious is when a series goes 7 games. It's as close as it can go. And fans of one team or the other are saying, "Oh well, this team's way better than this team," and it'll show in Game 7. And very often it doesn't. Of the 5 games that Ottawa lost there in Game 7, I would argue that they were the better team in 2 out of 5. 2012 against the Rangers, that could have gone either way. And of the 2 times against Toronto, I think 2002 was their best shot. So, and I don't want to seem doom and gloom, although it's sun going down outside, and I don't have any light sun here, so it's kind of sinister. I was actually going to do this video outside, but it's really, really windy, so I'm sure the wind hitting this microphone would cause all kinds of audio issues. So as much as it would be nice to be outside for another wonderful video, it's going to have to do here right next to the door for now. So my impression going into this game is this. I can't see Pittsburgh losing. I could totally see Ottawa being 0-6. But it's a funny thing with Ophers. They have a tendency of not lasting. The Ottawa Senators going to tonight's game hadn't scored a goal in 10 games on the power play. And they did. Yeah, it was a 2-man advantage. Let me finish. But it's a power play goal. And they all count. So momentum's on the side of Ottawa. Despite the fact that I would argue territorially Pittsburgh won that game, Ottawa came out with the result. Malkin and Crosby in the faceoff circle were amazing to behold. But amazing to behold or not, there's limits on what they can do. Now, and it's hard for me because I am definitely a Senators fan, and if Senators and Preds was the final, I'd be a very happy camper. But it's going to take a lot. It is going to take a lot for Ottawa to come out in a Game 7 against a battle-hardened Pittsburgh team that has overcome so much to get here. A team which has battled through injury after injury after injury, and they're still going into Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final. They're still the best in the East. Until they lose Game 7, they're still the best in the East. But that 0-5 record for Senators in Game 7s, that is tough to overcome. Because as Washington showed in their Game 7 against Pittsburgh, that team history is there for a reason. That team history means something. Sorry, I have to block off the cat because she's gone insane. But this Game 7 to me feels different. And I say that only based on a hunch and that gut feeling you get. And it may just be Senators fandom speaking. But this reminds me a lot of 93 when the Penguins got upset by the Islanders. The Penguins were the much better team. But the Islanders managed to score big goals. And then in Game 7, they overcame the odds. The odds were absolutely in Pittsburgh's favor. The Islanders were a team in turmoil even at that point. And the Penguins weren't able to come up in Game 7. And this was a Penguins team with Yager and Lemieux and numerous future Hall of Famers like Ron Francis, Barrasso, and net. So, Pittsburgh fans, sure, you guys can truck out a bunch of names and say, oh, these guys are all much bigger stars than the guys in Ottawa. And you're right. But in a Game 7, winner take all, sometimes that doesn't work. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And what an amazing playoffs these have been. Thanks for watching.